Dobbs hit again. He's got it. This is Malone. And he scores for the fourth consecutive game. This one from 42 yards out. Wow. For the win. Hold is good. It's got enough distance. He nailed it. Talk about redemption.
Well-thrown football from Jonathan Crawford. Excuse me, Gerald Jones. How about this? They're feeling it a little bit. Feeling it a little bit.
Position edge, you have to capitalize. That was a huge scoring drive for the Volunteers.
Picked up on one hop by Tennessee. They will stroll in.
By Florida from 32 yards. That kick is no good. Tennessee wins.
What's up, Vol Nation? Welcome to episode 3 of the VolBoyz podcast. Guys, it's officially Florida Hate Week. We're going to get into all that and this matchup in today's episode. But before we get into it, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in and make sure to follow us on our socials on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram at VolBoyz Podcast. That's boys with a Z. I'm joined by the boys today. We got Levi.
Hey, what up?
Connor.
Yes, sir.
Andrew.
What's up? What's up?
And a special guest. Today we got a Florida fan in here. Gabe, say what's up.
Yes, sir. Go Gators.
Oh my gosh. We're already getting...
Uh-oh.
Oh man. All right. So guys, big matchup obviously this week. Rivalry weekend. Guys, what's our reactions to the media hype? There's big hype around the game. College game day's coming in.
Dude,
What do we think about that?
I like it. Like, I love the hype around the game, and I'm hyped for the game, but I'm also a little nervous because now that means that there's a lot more spotlight on the game, and if we choke it away,
yeah.
it's going to be a lot worse. So there's some good aspects and some bad aspects to it, but overall, I think it's more good than bad.
I mean, we got College Game Day in here. We got Barstool Sports, Josh Pate. All the guys are coming in. Last time College Game Day was here, Knoxville, we won that Florida game. So I think overall, I agree with Levi. It's
Last time we
it's
checked
pretty much all
for the
good.
Florida game too, I think, maybe.
Yeah. Smoky Gray, they haven't announced it yet, but that could be on the horizon.
That would be fat.
Apparently, the jerseys are up to the players.
Oh, yeah.
I saw something where they're like the players are deciding what jerseys they wear.
But yeah, for me overall, media hype is good. Spotlight on Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
I think we finally deserve it. Obviously, we haven't played to what we have been expecting, but I think we have been deserving the hype for a while now.
Yeah, dude, I'm the same way. I mean, like what you were saying, Trevor, Barstool and College Game Day coming in. It's going to be a huge weekend for Vols, bro. And, like, not only that, but recruiting, bro. It's going to be insane. I mean, they're Tucker and Nealand, and just even though Tennessee's been blown out of the water pretty much by Florida and in the series, it seems like so far, like the past, 18, 19 years or whatever. It's going to be a big weekend, dude. I think there's definitely a lot of pressure riding on them, but I think the team's going to do. I think Josh Eiffel's going to have them pretty locked in. But Dude, overall excited. It would be bad, if we found a way to lose this game, you know, or just do not live up to what everybody's expecting us to be. But overall excited, bro. It's gonna be good.
For sure. Gabe, you got any thoughts on the hype on the game?
Yeah, for the Gators side, baby.
I mean, I've not been on one website where I've seen that hasn't picked Tennessee to win. I think that's a good thing for Florida because they don't have anything to lose right now, really, it seems like, coming off a bad game with USF. So I think it could go either way, but I personally like that Tennessee's getting a lot of hype for it.
Yeah,
For
Yeah,
sure.
it
that's
kind
a
of
fair
does. The
point.
hype does
Yeah,
make me a little nervous, but
yeah, because everybody's picking us to win, like you were saying.
Yeah. And he brings a good point too, I mean, Florida's got nothing to lose in this game for real. I mean, everybody's already counting them out, So it's like low key you sometimes kinda wanna come in being that underdog kind of guy because it just makes the pressure's kinda off. I mean, obviously they're gonna be feeling the heat from all the fan base when they walk in. But I mean, just walking in and feeling like, you have kind of something to prove, but you're not having to live up to all this pressure, from the fan base and all that stuff yet, So definitely a good point.
yeah, for sure.
All right. So obviously, big game. What's some keys to a victory? For Tennessee, and I guess for Florida as well.
I think the biggest key to a victory is the crowd, honestly. I think
Mhm.
if Neyland is crazy and the fans are going crazy and that stadium is super, super loud, I think it's going to be too much for Florida to handle, and there's going to be a lot of mistakes on their end. And it's just like teams, it's hard to play in a loud stadium. So I think that's one of the biggest keys. And then I'd also say being able to replace Tillman if he's not playing, that's another key. And being able to play good defense. Those are my three keys to winning the game, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with the crowd. The crowd's going to play a huge factor, and I think Billy Napier's kind of underestimating the crowd a little bit from what from his quotes from the media earlier this week. Um, this is our first road game, and you gotta factor that in. It's a huge advantage for us, but my keys would definitely have to be on the offensive side of the ball. We got to figure out this run game. We got to get it going. It's a key to get the pass game going. And as far as Hooker goes, he's got to take advantage of the opportunities that are given to him. He's got to hit those passes early and often. We can't be leaving points on the board. For the defensive side, I would have to say forcing turnovers, but mostly keeping Richardson contained. If our D line steps up, contains him, linebackers step up, it's gonna be a long day for Florida. The key is really to keep him contained, make him throw on us because I don't think he can. He hasn't shown that he can, even against USF and all these lower tier teams. He hasn't proven that he can throw the football with accuracy if he's under duress. So just keep the pressure on him.
For sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think I was going to go along the same lines looking at that defense. I mean, our defense has been playing really well this past couple weeks, past couple games. And I think that's a big thing for Tennessee because it's always, especially last year, it's been our offense and just like if we get into games that are shootouts, I mean, we score every time or else we lose. Our defense has been exceptional, especially in our pass rush, which wasn't really expected. Especially coming out, we were all looking at our linebacker core. I love what Tennessee's doing right now, and I'm also going to go along with Trevor and say our run game, we get that started, but I think our passing game could be a huge factor, especially with the game that Jalen Hyatt came off of. I think the hype will be real for him.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and first say, just matchup. I think the best thing, what actually me and Gabe were talking about before, is like Florida's strength is their secondary, So we have to get that run game going, fast and soon, so we can, kind of open up the passing later on as it goes. And honestly, a key takeaway is Hennon's not been starting off too hot at the beginning, guys. Y'all remember the Pitt game? I mean, too. He's just got to settle in. He's got to let the game come to him. Come quick, obviously, but just needs to settle down and take in those moments. Make the right reads. And good, smart, accurate throws. He's been overthrown a little bit at the beginning, but locking in. I think just being ready for this game and understanding how big it is, but not let that get to you. Just take it as another game and just play with what you can, what you expect Tennessee to play as they pretty much have the past couple weeks. But yeah, I think defensively, just get some pressure on Richardson. You can't let him, kind of get out of that pocket because he can make plays with his legs. I mean, he's an athlete for sure, dude. I think honestly, he might shock probably a little bit this weekend. I feel like he's probably going to be passing a lot more than what people are going to think. I think their run game is. They got some talented running backs. I think we contain that. I feel good with our run defense, but honestly, just our weakness in our secondary, I feel like a little bit right now, just the inexperience there is something we're going to have to watch out for. But yeah.
The one good thing though about having it's not a good thing that our secondary is bad, but it's honestly better that our secondary is the worst aspect of our defense because I think that the run game is a lot more dangerous for Florida. So
Yeah, for sure.
it's a lot better that our run defense is better than
Hmm.
it'd be
And
better it'd be worse if it was the other way
from a
around.
linebacker and defensive lineman standpoint, if we're putting pressure on the quarterback, it's easier on our defensive backs
Yeah.
Hmm.
compared to if our defensive backs are great and our front
And
seven's
you
bad.
saw that too
Yeah.
in the Pitt game, dude. I mean, he kind of just had no targets to throw
Yeah.
downfield. I mean, they were playing lockdown at the end, but it'll be interesting for sure. You got anything, Gabe?
I mean, everyone knows what I'm gonna say about our keys to win. It's obviously Richardson. Like you saw how he played against Utah. If he plays good, we can win lots of games. If he plays bad, yeah, you get the result you had last week with USF. And our team has made up for that a lot because you've seen them throw two picks in each of the last two games, and they still managed to stay in both of those games. And if Richardson doesn't throw those two picks against Kentucky, I very well believe we could have won because it's not like our defense gave up those 26 points. They gave up 250 total yards that whole game against supposedly one of the best quarterbacks in college football. But if Richardson plays well, I think we have a chance. If he throws two picks like he's been doing, it'll be hard to win the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, us staying plus side of the turnover category is key. Not turning it over, taking advantage of turnovers. That's definitely key for us, and that'll be a key on the flip side for Florida.
Especially special teams turnovers. We gotta make
Yeah,
sure
that's
that
gonna be huge.
that Pitt game, we almost lost that because of our
Yeah,
special teams.
that
Our
muff
special
punt. Yeah.
teams screwed us.
Hey, do you think we put? Obviously, I think D. Williams is back there normally, right? He's been injured, but I thought Squirrel White did good, like
Oh
with
yeah,
the punt returns and stuff he was doing this, in the Akron game. I was pretty impressed with him, dude.
I think the reason why Trayvon's back there is only because he's a senior and Squirrel
It's
White's a
experience. Yeah.
freshman.
Yeah,
But
you just gotta have. I
it
think
doesn't
they're
matter.
getting more trust.
But it's not doesn't the experience doesn't matter if the reason you're putting him is because you trust him better because Trayvon has shown that he's I'm nervous whenever he's back there. I'm never sure if he's gonna be able
Yeah,
to catch it because of that muffed punt.
for sure.
So it's
Yeah,
I don't know. I think we might should just try out Squirrel and see how he does because he's just how
yeah,
fast and athletic he is. But I trust Josh
yeah,
Heupel to put the right
yeah,
person in the position, I guess. But
yeah, for
Yeah, for sure.
sure.
For
I
sure.
agree with. I just want to say, go back to what Gabe said real quick on that Kentucky and Florida game. I thought that was very true too about the two picks being thrown. I think that's a different game if those picks aren't cost. Because I really didn't think, watching that game really fast, just Kentucky did not offensively. They just didn't play. I mean, they didn't live up to what apparently they were supposed to be. Like with Will Levis especially, I was not impressed in that game. I think it could have swung both ways without those turnovers.
Taking back that 150-yard touchdown they had. Other than that, they weren't moving the ball at all
Yeah,
that whole night.
yeah, that's one reason why really don't understand the Kentucky hype. I understand you went into Florida and you won at Florida, but it's not like you looked dominant in that game. So I don't understand what warrants them to just be everyone thinking they're a college football playoff contender right now. It doesn't make
yeah,
any sense to me. I need to see them beat if they beat Ole Miss, which because I think Ole Miss is a pretty good team. I might think they're a little better than I was expecting. But until they beat another team, I just think they're overrated right now because I didn't think they looked that good against Florida. I think Florida just had a bad game, to be honest.
yeah, for sure.
I can understand seeing Kentucky is overhyped. But right now, if you look at the rankings, there's not a lot of teams that I would be willing to put ahead of them just because of the strength of schedule
That's
and
fair.
quality
True.
wins.
Let's
So,
talk about that.
and
Yeah,
yeah, in that aspect, I would just leave them right now until they
That's
mess up
very
at
true.
the end.
Yeah.
we were talking about that last episode, looking at the AP poll, just where Tennessee is at. We
It's
kind of
freaking
think that
all over the place.
they're high. They're higher than we would have expected. But if you look at the teams behind them, there's not anybody I would say we would lose to for sure
Dude,
if we're playing
that the
them.
thing is most teams this season kind of it just seems like every team
See,
sucks.
that's the thing. That's the
Dude,
thing.
yeah,
So
it's been crazy, like just the
there's
past couple weeks of college football, bro.
there's teams losing to inferior teams all across the board, and
Yeah.
so far Kentucky's taking care of business technically, and so is Tennessee. So I think that's why we're as high as we are,
Yeah.
and that's why they're
Yeah.
as high as they are, whether they're overhyped or not. But kind of moving on here a little bit, there's athletes all across the board in this rivalry game,
Yeah.
guys. Obviously, um, guys, what's some matchups to watch, and what's some winnable matchups for Tennessee, and winnable matchups for Florida?
Um, Definitely linebackers containing and D-line containing Richardson. That's the biggest matchup, I think. I don't see any matchups being more important than that one. Just being able to contain him. But
I
yeah,
agree.
Yeah, dude.
The trenches is definitely the key to this game, right? It's our D line versus their offensive line, and our offensive line versus their defensive line. For me, it's going back to what I said about keys to a victory. To get that run game started, our offensive line's got to push around their defensive line, and they've got some big boys up front, obviously. And their D line hasn't looked well. I
dude,
guess they got
they've that
gashed.
one
They got
big,
gashed.
they've that
Yeah,
one
they got that one
big
big.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Javon
His
Dexter.
name, Gabe.
Dude, that guy
Yeah.
actually low key
Well, they
kind of
have
scares me.
right now. They have the only advantage I see on the D line is they have 2 projected first round picks, and other than that, it's kind of weak. So if you contain those 2 guys, Dexter and Britton Cox, then
I'd say
it should be fine. But
I'm just saying, like going back to that USF game. I mean, they got gashed for like 300-ish yards on the ground. It's just if our offensive line can get some push and our running game gets going, I think that's very key to this game. And as far as our defensive line goes, we got to be able to contain Anthony Richardson, even without blitzing. Like I think we need to send pressure, but I think our defensive line's got to step up and make plays this
Yeah,
game.
you got a QB contain. I mean, like, it's scary too if he's escaping the pot. Like, you get pressure on him, but if you're dropping that many guys back there and he escapes that, it can be pretty dangerous
yeah,
too. You know what I mean?
I think dropping into coverage against Richardson is better than bringing the blitz because looking
Yeah.
at the stats against the blitz, if you blitz him, he's just gonna break a tackle and run right past you.
Yeah.
If you contain, then he has nowhere to go.
last
We've just
season,
been bad at
freaking
containing though. The Ole
la
Miss game.
yeah, last season that was the most frustrating thing about our
Yeah,
defense.
for
Is like our
sure.
defense was like not great, but like we had our moments that were good. But literally every time on third down, it'd be third and long, and a
Yep.
QB would always run
Matt
for at
Corral.
least 10 yards and get the first down, and it was the most annoying thing ever. So far this season, we haven't had trouble with that, but we haven't really played any mobile quarterbacks
Yeah, mobile quarterbacks
like
are just pocket
Richardson yet.
passers.
So
Yeah.
that kind of makes me a little nervous
Yeah.
Yeah.
because we weren't
We'll
very
see how
good
that
on
goes.
last year.
Connor, you got
Connor,
anything, bro?
You got anything?
Really, I would love to see, like you guys were talking about, QB contain, but also, I mean, Florida has stacked running back depth. I mean,
Yeah.
this just really all like if they can bring anybody in and they could break off a run. I mean, you obviously have the freshman Trevor Etienne, Etienne's brother. That's in the NFL right now, and you saw how good he was at Clemson. And I think that's basically the same people. I mean, you look at it like I don't even know if that's even his brother. I think that is Travis Etienne because just the way he's can move before he hits a hole.
Yeah.
I think is really
it's
good.
Crazy.
Like Levi was talking about earlier, our run defense has been really good. And so I think if we can contain the run, especially the QB scramble, that could be really good for a key to winning the game, but also making sure that we're getting pressure. And I think QB hurries are going to be good. If we let Anthony Richardson get out, obviously he can break off a big run. But I don't like QB spies. That is a very controversial topic, but not a lot of linebackers will be able to hang with Anthony Richardson.
We don't got any guys. Maybe Aaron Beasley that could keep up with him, but we don't.
Yeah, he's the only one that'd be able to. Yeah,
And that's what I'd be worried about, is trying to QB contain with a QB spy. So I think really it's just going to be containing him to where if it comes down to it, Anthony Richardson's going to have to run up the middle, and then he's going to have to deal with the linebackers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got 4 guys
for
that
sure.
3 or 4 guys that are studs at linebacker. So I mean,
Yeah, Jawan Mitchell's back, so that's good.
Okay.
My matchup probably, man, is going to be. Let's think here. For us, I think, offensively, looking at a defensive standpoint, I think obviously, we're getting SEC play now, so the boys up front are a lot bigger, a lot more physical, obviously, right? So definitely a battle in the trenches. How well our offensive line can hold up for, Hennon too, to be able to get a ball out if he's, going for that pass. But Gabe, I know y'all have that linebacker. I don't know if he's going to be back this weekend. That's huge. If he's not back, yeah, Ventrell Miller, he's probably the best. Definitely the best linebacker y'all got, but probably one of the best defense. I mean, he's the heart of y'all's defense.
He was our play caller on defense, and that's why we were so bad last week.
Yeah, and if he's back, dude, I mean, he causes some problems for sure. I mean, definitely in the run game. Let's look. Was he out for? Is he injured?
Yeah.
I think they're saying he might be out. I think he might be back. When do y'all play Auburn? Let's see.
I hope he's out. Not because I hope he's hurt, but we need all we can get.
I hope he's hurt.
I hope he's as healthy as possible
for next week, for the week after
Tennessee. I hope he's in perfectly good shape.
Yeah,
In all honesty, if Tennessee beats Florida, I'll be rooting. Not rooting, but it'd honestly be better for Tennessee if Florida plays good the rest of the season.
Yep.
We beat them.
Strength of schedule
Better. So
after you play a team, you want him to do good.
Yeah. Ventrell Miller looks like
he's a lower leg injury.
But yeah, it's looking like he's going to be out this weekend. But that guy, I mean, he's like the heart of their defense pretty much, big play caller. So, and that's what you look at UCF too when they played them. They just kind of looked out of sync and weren't all on the same page, from the first level to the third level, like defensively. But obviously, I think the matchup too, they have a good secondary regardless. I think they could play a little bit of man, especially, if Cedric's not playing, which I really don't think Cedric's going to play this weekend. I would love to see him, but I'd rather, if it comes to him being able to play the rest of the season, completely healthy, with taking off this week and then the bye week and then being back for LSU, I'm more for that. But, I think it puts a lot on Hyatt and Brew for sure, dude. And I think Brew's somebody that I trust enough now, just seeing him with the ball and being physical. I think he can be a real playmaker in this game. Obviously, that matchup, definitely the trenches, and then, defensively, I mean, it really comes down, obviously, their run game's good, but, I mean, the biggest thing for me defensively, matchup-wise, is just containing Anthony Richardson, man. You let him escape and get, scrambling out of the pocket, it can be a huge run. I mean, I think of the Utah play, he scrambled, got out, and I mean, literally, I don't even remember how much. I don't know how many yards that was, but running all the way to the end zone. I mean, it's just insane, dude. He's fast. He's a
his
big
run
body
game
dude.
hasn't been the same since Utah.
Yeah.
Since he did have surgery on his knee and he took a hit against Kentucky, and they've been limiting him to his run. So I don't know if he's going to be full health for Tennessee, but it doesn't look like it right now. So that's the only thing I would have to say about his run game right now.
I got one question for you guys. Who you guys think's gonna so we're probably not gonna have Tillman for the game, most likely. Who do you guys think is gonna be the receiver that's gonna be the number 3 for this game? That if that happens,
see, I've heard Ramel Keaton. Obviously, I think he should be the guy too. But I've heard also Walker Merrill, dude.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think he gets some.
I thought he's been pretty solid. Yeah.
Him, Squirrel.
Um,
Honestly, Squirrel White. I could
Squirrel's not bad either,
that one
bro.
catch he got. I know it was Akron, but still,
Yeah,
like
still like what, 50
That's a
yard
tough
bomb or
catch,
whatever.
dude.
dude,
That's a
that
tough
catch
catch.
Tough
was
catch.
insane. Like
He
that was
got
a,
Yeah.
underthrown by
yeah,
a
that
lot.
throw was not good, and
He almost got his
he
helmet
Dude,
ripped
made a
off.
and
play
you
for
know
it.
what I'm gonna be honest about? I thought Milton's deep balls have been way more accurate than
Then
than
Hooker's.
Hooker's, bro. I mean, you look at that. What was that? I don't even know. It's like a 50 or 60. It was insane. That bomb. I mean, he hit him in stride. If you look at some of the ones Hooker hit, even though they went up and got it. I mean, they're kind of like stopping on their route, for a second, which can be huge
It is
in a
kind
game.
of
If you've got a receiver beat, you don't want to slow down for the ball. You want that thing in stride. So
it is kind of funny how we're all like
a
Hooker's been
cornerback beat.
really inaccurate this season, even
Yeah,
though
he's still, dude.
he has
He's
like the
been,
exact same accuracy as
yeah,
last season. It's just
yeah,
It's literally a
honestly,
69%. Yeah.
it's less that it's not like he's being inaccurate, but it's less that he's being inaccurate and more that he's just like it's just like a little bit outside of it's
The
still
pass
yeah,
just
catchable, but
see,
the passes are not like they're not as good as they should be. Like they need to be
yeah,
because it's like what Andrew was saying, it's slowing down the receivers because they're having to stop. But the thing is, we have such good receivers that it's like it doesn't matter too much. But like it'd be so much better if he could
yeah,
get his passes a little better and a little bit
what's
more accurate.
frustrating for me personally is it once again, I can't hate on him at all because I love how he plays and he's a great quarterback for us. It's just a little bit frustrating when he's missing touchdown passes. He's missed a few
yeah.
of
It's
those.
hard to watch. Yeah, it
It's
is.
hard, yeah, and we can't
Like he
do
had
that
Tillman a couple different
against
times,
There was
man.
that one
against Pitt, yeah,
Pitt against Pitt where it
and
was like a
against
dime and he just got
Yeah,
unlucky and it hit his helmet.
yeah. And I won't lie, that game too. I thought everybody's talking about how good of a game Cedric had, but he could have had such a
I
better
know.
game
Yeah,
with some of
part of
those
the
drops
problem
he
is
dropped.
yeah, our receivers have dropped a few big
Yeah,
balls too.
Mhm.
So
for sure.
it's a little bit of Hooker, a little bit of the receivers,
Yeah,
but they're still playing pretty good, even not
yeah,
looking as good as I think they can play. So that's
Yeah.
honestly good news to be
for
honest.
sure.
But
All right,
Yeah.
Gabe, you got any matchups for Florida?
Matchup I'm wanting to see the most, other than Richardson, would be the Florida's defensive backs up against the receivers. Because everyone
Yeah,
on that Tennessee receiving core, most of them, if Tillman plays, you got Hyatt and then Tillman, obviously. It's veterans against veterans right there.
yeah,
Because every
it's,
Florida DB is what they faced last year against Tennessee. They faced
yeah,
Hooker, they faced all those receivers. So it just comes down to who executes more right there.
yeah, for sure.
well,
Like
honestly
that.
though, Tennessee has got new receivers because we lost to Valus and
Couple,
Javante.
yeah, and Javante Payton, yeah,
So, but the
we
thing
yeah.
is though all of our receivers except for Brew were on the team last year, other than maybe
yeah.
Squirrel White,
So
but they didn't
And
play too
a big
much.
matchup. I've not watched a lot of the other games. I've seen Pitt, other than not watching the Akron game. So I don't know how your tight ends are, but Florida is giving up 70% of their pass yards to tight ends. So that's a
and that's
matchup
what
that I
me and
want to
Connor
see.
have been talking about
Yes.
so much, bro.
See, our
Princeton
Because
Fant and Jacob
yeah,
Warren can set up a huge game, bro, for that.
I think Warren's better, honestly, but Fant's still sneaky good too. But we haven't seen
Yeah.
too
Yeah,
much from them this season.
because
I will say,
Ventrell Miller is our cover guy.
did you
If he's not
guys
playing, then your tight end's got to step up.
see the thing where apparently Fant's been taking reps at running back
I did
yeah,
see
because
that.
two
for
of our running
emergency
backs are hurt.
situation.
Mhm.
Dude, that'd be crazy if he ever just
Yeah.
plays
Yeah,
running
he did it
back.
a little bit last year. If you don't remember, I remember it's only a couple plays for like pass protection, but he was back there a couple plays. I remember
Oh yeah.
uh last year just for pass protection only. I mean the guy's a unit. I think he had his best game this past game. With Akron, he caught that bomb.
The thing about
Uh,
Fant
Mhm.
is he catches the ball pretty good, but I've heard that he's not very good at blocking. Or I can't remember if it was one of the two is better at catching and making plays like that, but then the other
I
Yeah.
one
want to
is
say
better
it's
at
Warren,
blocking.
bro. Or
Yeah.
that's what it looked like.
I can't
Yeah.
remember who's
Print.
the better blocker, but one of them's good at blocking, one of them's
Uh
better at
huh.
catches and
I think
stuff.
it's Fan at blocking because I've saw him. I mean, especially in the Pitt game, he dropped a couple, dude. Pretty
Yeah.
bad, but or maybe
Going
it was
yeah,
the first game.
going back to what Gabe said real quick about I think he mentioned that 70% of the passes are going to tight ends for Florida.
Yeah,
Um, that's a little bit of a concern for Tennessee's defense just because of the fact that Jeremy Banks does not look good in coverage this year. I haven't seen our linebackers really cover much, except in zones, really. And we're getting beat. We're getting gashed deep. Pitt had that big tight end play against us.
Mhm.
I see our linebackers more as run game pieces and blitz pieces, but they're gonna have to step up and cover this game, especially if Gabe's right about the. I mean, especially if he's right about the tight end. Tight ends catching most of those passes.
Dude, our
That's from
linebackers.
a defensive standpoint for Florida.
Yeah, that was the defensive. So like
Right,
they're
that's
giving up.
Florida's defense gives up 70% to tight ends.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Then as far as that goes, though, our tight ends have combined for 5 catches this whole season. So
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I'm not.
I mean, that's we've talked
That's
about
about
that
how
the
Florida
past
is,
2
though.
episodes. Yeah,
Dude, our linebackers.
we talked about that. Go ahead, man.
Our linebackers play like how I played football, like horrible at coverage, but really good at
Yeah, exactly,
blitzing.
dude.
Yeah, I guess
Dude,
my point still stands,
I
even if the
blitzed
tight
every
ends
play.
aren't catching passes for
They're
Florida.
in it for the hits, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they just like the big hits. Like you look, Jeremy Banks totally blew the coverage on Bartholomew. He let him run right by him,
Yeah, he did.
and then that made him break down and go hurdle freaking Traylon Flowers.
Dude,
Yeah.
our secondary
Yeah, I
is
mean-
horrible this season. Like,
Yeah,
so many times we're about to sack the quarterback, and we've gotten great
and you
pressure,
just
and then there's just a wide open receiver downfield
yeah.
for a big.
Like I was telling you guys last
kills
week,
us.
bro. Yeah, it's like they're too scared to give up the big play. You know what I mean? And
But
that's
the big play, the big
Yeah,
play
go
takes
ahead, bro.
time to develop. So
Yeah, for sure. And that's what this is kind of a little off topic, but that's what I thought Bama has been so good at coaching at. Like, I remember the Tennessee game, there was multiple times that they got called for PI, but the coaches kind of taught them to, make sure you get hands on the receiver if you know you're beat so you don't give up that big play, and they'd rather give up 15 yards or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Which I think is really smart, especially, if we ever have to face, a team that, we're going to get blown out of the water with actually a decent, receiving unit, you'd rather give up that 15 yards than the big play and the touchdown or whatever if you know you're flat out beat.
Well, that's the good thing
Yeah.
about our receivers. They can beat
Yeah.
DBs and stuff. But
Yeah,
it's
and
just,
Tillman
it's just
ran that
up
same
to-
route like 3 times, that wheel route or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Just runs right by the guy.
Well,
Just,
it's
you
really
know,
just up to Hooker to be able to make the passes because
Yeah.
there's been countless times where we've absolutely beat the DB or the defender,
yeah,
and he's just wide open, but it's an overthrow, and if we can make those passes, we're golden.
Yeah,
We'll
for
score.
sure.
It's every time it's a touchdown if he makes those passes.
One more thing before we move on here, I'd just like to touch on was the biggest improvement for our defense from last year to this year for me has been bend don't break. And I mean, we obviously saw us get gashed for 2 of those touchdowns against Pitt. But other than that, they weren't able to move the ball against us. And we were forcing field
Yeah, they
goals,
came
forcing
together.
turnovers. Yeah. Forcing
Dude,
field
our
goals,
red
forcing
zone-
turnovers.
Our red zone defense is I think next level good. Like
Yeah,
once
I mean,
once
good.
teams get into the red zone against us, I'm pretty sure Pitt only had 1 red zone touchdown that entire game. All of their touchdowns were like big plays where we just
and
let them
those
beat
can
us.
get fixed. Those
Yeah.
can get fixed very easily. Those are just scheme blown coverages.
Yeah, just missed
assignments, yeah.
miscues, missed assignments for sure.
All right, guys. So let's move on real quick about some breakout players, guys. Who do you all think is going to have the most
Hyatt.
impact on this football game?
Hyatt,
Yeah,
Jalen
I'm
Hyatt.
gonna say Hyatt too, bro. Guy's
Yeah.
worked for it, man. He deserves it. I think he's gonna prove it this weekend.
Hyatt,
If you looked at him after the Akron game in the interview, bro, I mean, he's just mind switch like that. Like he said he literally hadn't even done nothing yet because he knows how important SEC play is coming up. So I think he's gonna have a big game, dude.
also
Yeah.
Hooker too, though.
Yeah.
Because if Hooker makes bad passes, it's not going to matter what Hyatt does.
Yeah, but I'm going to go back to the Hyatt. I mean, you guys got to think about it. Hyatt was injured for most of last year. I mean, he got injured in one of those first games. I don't think Florida has even seen Hyatt at his best, and I think this year is his best.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
that's what we've been waiting for. And going to what Levi says, I mean, obviously, and I'm going to knock on wood for this, but Hendon Hooker hasn't been throwing interceptions. I mean, you see the overthrows, but they aren't he's not thrown behind receivers, and that's what I really like. I mean, you hate to see the overthrows, obviously, because these receivers are open, and these could be easy touchdowns. But he's being consistent. I mean, at least he's overthrown and not all over the place, and that's what I really like about Hendon Hooker. I mean, once he settles down, yeah, and we'd rather him being settled down at the beginning of the game, but I think he's been doing really well.
The thing with
been
Hooker
one
is
of-
once the game gets like, at least this season, other than when we played Akron and Ball State because they sucked. In that Pitt game, he started off bad, but then once the game was tough, he got in, he made
Yeah.
plays, we were up.
He found
But
a
then
way.
once
Dude,
we were
yeah.
up, he started playing bad again. So it was like
Yeah.
he needs to play good until
Yeah.
like the
He just
other
needs to
side's
kind of
good.
even that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Play solid through four quarters, 3.5 quarters at least, dude.
But yeah, going back to what Connor said, I mean, one of his biggest things from the one season and couple games we've seen from him so far is just taking care of the football, and that's been one of his.
Yeah.
Besides completion percentage, I think that's been his best quality. For me personally, going back to the player, breakout player, impact player, I'm gonna have to go Ramel Keaton. Guys, we're talking about Jalen Hyatt here, and he's going to be a key to this game. But if he gets locked down, if Florida keys on him, who's going to have to step up? And it's going to have to be, it's going to have to be Brew. Brew's going to have to step up as well. But I think Ramel Keaton needs to get his opportunity. He hasn't had an opportunity yet. I think he's either a junior or a redshirt senior or something like that.
Yeah, he's still got 3 years of eligibility left.
Does he really?
So, yeah.
He's been there forever. I just feel like, he has 5 catches for 114 yards this year, 1 touchdown. We've seen him in the deep ball a couple times, especially against Akron. I want to see what he can do because we're going to need other guys other than Hyatt to step up this game. And I think our receivers are good. And if they start keying on our other 2 guys, someone else is going to have to step up. And I think it's Keaton for me personally.
Sure.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And I'm going to bring up one more. He's going to come back in second half of the game. Jimmy Callaway is going to start throwing punches. We're going to win this game just because of that, man.
I got to say one thing about like Tillman. Like Hooker kind of locks his eyes on Tillman in a way where he throws
Yes.
into Tillman
about
all
that
the time.
too, yeah.
And so one thing about Tillman getting hurt in that Akron game and coming out,
Gonna open his eyes up.
he started looking to Hyatt, and then Hyatt's making all these plays that he's actually getting the ball. So like this could be a good thing, him learning to spread the ball out a little bit more now that he doesn't have his Tillman, his button.
Yeah.
Like if he was playing NCAA, it's the go-to button. So
And I want to point out, we're all kind of just going and assuming that Tillman's not going to play. I think he's going to suit up, like for sure.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he's going to come out and just sweat. Yeah, it'll be a game day decision and probably a game time decision if they need him. If the game's like at a certain spot, he might be like, all right, I can go in. You know what I mean? But I don't think they're going to play him unless they have to. Yeah, for sure. But like I said, I'm gonna go Hyatt, dude. He's put in the work. He deserves it. Deserves to have a big game for sure. And I'll go ahead and throw a defensive player out there too. I think for defensively, I don't know why I'm wanting to say, but I'm gonna say either Jawan Mitchell or Beasley, bro. Gonna have a good game this Saturday, bro. I think it could be good. I know Jawan just came back, for the Akron game, but he looked pretty good overall, but he's got some serious talent. I think Beasley too. Just after that Pitt game, how many times he got to hit the quarterback and just how much of a difference he made in the game. Or shoot, I'm forgetting Byron Young and what's his face, or Tyler Barron too, bro. Yeah, I'm forgetting all those guys. I think defense could have a big game too. But yeah, all right, Gabe, what you got?
I'd put it on Florida's running backs. I'm not going to pinpoint one of them because they use just about everyone, getting them 10-plus carries a game between ETN, Montrell Johnson, and Naquan Wright. So I think if Anthony Richardson starts to struggle, our running backs have to take the bulk of the load there and try to keep our offense in it somehow. And on the defense side of the ball, I'm got to pick one of the corners because Everyone knows Brandon Cox, Javon Dexter, and if Ventrell Miller plays, but the guy that'll probably be taking the bulk of guarding your top receiver, whoever that is, will be top Tillman or Hyatt. If Tillman does play, probably be Trevez Johnson, and he's young, and he's never faced them before. So I'm interested to see how he'll do against them. He had a pick six last week and really kept us in that game. So I'm interested to see
Are
how that
y'all
matchup will go.
is y'all
Yeah, for
secondary
sure.
tall? Because that's one thing about our receivers. We got some tall receivers. So if y'all
We have it's
if
more speed than tall. We have a couple. They're all around like 6'1", 6'2".
yeah, because I think I could be wrong, but I think Tillman might be 6'4" ish, and I think
I
Yeah,
think
Yeah,
he's either
they're
6'3"
pretty
or
close.
6'4".
I think
Yeah,
Brew and Tillman are the same height
I don't
and
know how
literally weigh 5 pounds different. Like they have a 5 pound difference.
I don't know
They're
how
like
tall
220 and
Tillman or
215.
Hyatt is though. I don't know if he's
He's
very
not.
tall.
He's not as tall, but he's
also,
definitely a speed
guys,
guy.
I don't know if you guys knew this, but there's a brotherly matchup coming with Naquan Wright and Jalen Wright, brother. Brothers, both
No
running
way.
backs. Yeah, pretty
Wait,
cool.
Florida has
for real?
Jalen Wright's brother
Yeah,
on their team?
Jalen Wright's brother. It's Naquan Wright.
I did not know
Both
that.
running
I didn't know
backs.
that.
Are you making that up?
Dude,
Are you making that
No,
up?
look it up, bro.
dude, I feel
He's
like you just
definitely
saw
making it up.
I feel like you just saw that they
I
had the
just
same
saw the
last.
last name, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
about to be like, what the frig?
No relation. All right, so moving on here. Obviously the rivalry has not gone Tennessee's way the past,
Yeah. Oh my
17,
gosh, Hail
2008.
17-ish
Mary,
years.
2017, bro. Yeah.
Obviously last time we won is 2016, and that's really the last time I felt great about Tennessee football. So what does this game mean to Vols football overall?
I
A
don't think
promising future.
I don't think
Or
our
Anfield?
Maybe.
see, I don't think our season's over if we lose to Florida, but like your expectations go from
Yeah.
possibly going 9-3 to or maybe even 10-2 if you're super lucky to like most likely we're going 8-4, 7-5, 6-6, that area. Because like it makes me a lot less confident if like we can't in our own stadium beat
Yeah.
Florida, who hasn't looked that great this season. It makes me way less confident about our ability to win games. Because right now, I feel confident in just about every game other than Georgia and Bama that we play this season. But if we lose to Florida, I don't feel so confident about a lot of games. So this game kind of is how we see like it's gonna show me how I think this season's gonna go, basically, whether we win
Yeah.
this game or
For
not.
me, I'm going to focus on the rivalry as a whole instead of like the long-term season. Or well, I'm not going to focus on the season, more on the long-term rivalry. Uh, I think it could be important as a turning point. You look at the state of Tennessee football trending in the right direction. Florida, I don't know where I don't know where Florida's at right now. Obviously, brand new head coach Billy Napier. I'm interested to see what Gabe thinks about him. We can get to that in a minute, but I mean, it could be a turning point in the rivalry,
Yeah.
in Tennessee's favor if we win that game. And that's what I'm focused on. And for me, it's the biggest game of the season, for me personally.
Yeah, for
Just
sure.
because, like, I think we're a couple years away from Bama and Georgia. Uh, I think Florida's a team that is personally my biggest rival, and so I just think it could be a turning point, guys, and that's exciting. Obviously, that's assuming we're gonna win. On the flip side, uh, it doesn't make you question Josh Heupel at all,
Mhm.
but it's gonna put a big damper on the rest of the season and the rivalry in general. Like just because I think it's such a huge pivotal moment in Tennessee football.
This is how we can prove that Tennessee can be back. It's not doesn't say that we are back to being good or being in
I
the
mean,
top,
like, we're
but
getting there,
but
yeah,
it
or like
shows that we're
showing
on the way.
signs.
We can
Yeah.
get past our history and hang with our rival
This might be
and
the
not
most
not get
important.
embarrassed.
This might be the most important Tennessee game in the past 20 years.
Seriously.
Like because
Because
Tennessee
it's
hasn't been relevant really. Like not in the sense of like competing for like the championship or anything. Tennessee hasn't been like since like the early 2000s. And so this is how we can possibly change that. And so I think this is probably the most important game in my lifetime, I'd say probably. But
Yeah.
I don't
Connor,
know.
what you
The
thinking?
2016 Georgia and Florida games were pretty big, but I'd say this is bigger.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. I mean, it is a big game because it's. I mean, it's versus Florida. I mean, this is how it is every year. Um, we always play Florida, but this has been one of those games that's like before the start of the season, we were sort of looking at like this could be a loss. And now everybody's like, especially with all the media hype that we were talking about earlier, they were like, Tennessee's favored, like 87% favored, and they're like gonna win. It's a big game. I think we'll come out and we'll play we have to play our hearts out. I mean, that's really what's gonna come down to. It means a lot because if we win, I mean, even though Florida hasn't really been up to what they were right after the Utah game. I mean, they've still been winning games. I mean, they're 2-1. They're only lost to Kentucky, which we know how we all feel about Kentucky. I mean, I would love to see us put good points up, and that really just shows. I mean, Florida's a good team. I mean, I think we're all willing to say that.
I think they're better than what we thought they would be,
Yeah,
but then I still think they're a middle of the pack SEC team right
yeah.
now.
I still don't know where to put them because just of the inconsistent play.
Yeah. I still think they're like better
Yeah.
than South Carolina and Missouri,
Oh
Vanderbilt.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd put
I
them
don't.
around 9 in the SEC right now.
I'd say that's probably a good spot.
I think I've got him at 10th in my power rankings.
Yeah.
But all right, Carver,
Man,
Andrew, what you think?
dude, going back to what first Levi said, yeah, this has definitely got to be probably one of the most important games for Tennessee in my lifetime. Like, you think this, I mean, like you hear about how built up this rivalry was, and you saw that in 2016, in 2017 kind of too, with the heartbreaker Hail Mary loss that I don't want to talk about. But, you know, it just, even the past couple years, even last year, it's just not been that same rivalry as it used to be, when Josh Dobbs was here and way before that. It's not, it used to be so much talked about, and it feels that way this year. You know what I'm saying? It just feels so different. This is so huge for Tennessee as a program with football, and obviously, to show years to come, I don't think it's a defining game for Josh Heupel. I mean, like, oh my gosh, is he the guy? I genuinely think he is our guy. Like, we can't keep obviously firing coaches for one, but I love everything that he's brought. I mean, guys, this is only the second year that he's had under his belt with the program, and we're starting off 3-0. I mean, yeah, two of them are cupcake teams, right? But I mean, like, dude, used to no game for Tennessee was a given win. Georgia Tech will tell you that, but
this is our first 3-0
I
start
mean,
since 2016, I think.
yeah, I mean, this is big for Tennessee, right? Big for me. I mean, I've never been more excited to be a Tennessee fan like in my life.
I can
Like,
really
seriously,
agree.
like seriously, man. The offense, like, this is something we've always kind of needed and lacked, is just an offensive-minded coach, and to have that with Josh Heupel and just the confidence and just honestly how much in depth he goes with just preparation for the team, right? Mental side. This is more of a mental game than a talent game. It don't matter. I don't care. You could have Tim Tebow, whoever the freak you want to put on this team, right? This game is more mental to the players than anything. I feel like, dude, because obviously Tennessee's had the better team some years. I mean, even going up to it, and Florida's had the better team some years, I think, and
Like talent wise, it's pretty even the past couple of years. I mean, Florida's had some bad teams and still managed to blow them out. So I feel like if this year Tennessee does not win, there's going to be a lot of unhappy fans because the talent gap is probably the biggest you're going to get right now.
Yeah.
Than it's been in the past 5 years.
And you got to think of all the things Tennessee has going with them. It's a home game, right? Neyland's going to be checkered out. It's going to be packed. Everybody's got you favored, right? A lot of pressure on you, but you got to think Billy Napier, first year head coach, right? he's never been not road game tested, right, with his whole team. So there's a lot of different things, communication wise, level wise, everything going from travel and everything that he's got to figure out for the first time, this week. All new personnel, I mean, there's a lot of things riding for, good for Tennessee this way, right? So I think this is a huge turning point for Tennessee to finally getting over that hump. Florida's had us a lot the past whatever it is, 18 years, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's been pretty rough, but like me and Gabe were talking before, I still don't think it maybe starts, the thought of like the turning point, I think we really can't talk about Tennessee turning the corner until we win 2 in a row on Florida, which we should have in 2017, I think 2016 and then 2017 we had that game, lost it to a Hail
Florida
Mary.
was
So
Fairness, our
Felipe
4-8 that
2017
year.
sucked.
Yeah,
We fired our coach
yeah,
in 2017, and I think Florida
yeah,
did too.
Yeah, Florida
yeah,
went 4-8 that year.
Yeah,
yeah,
we both. I think we
man,
both teams went
Yeah.
4-8 that year. We both had
yeah.
horrible seasons.
But I'm, overall, I'm gonna be happy,
It's it's really
just
Tennessee's game to
just to
lose.
be in this spot. Yeah, this is Tennessee's game to lose for sure. I think this year, just because they're struggling. Florida's on a whole nother level of just depth. Kind of what we struggled with last year. They lost so many guys getting, Billy Napier, which I think Billy Napier has the ability to be a good coach. I mean, coming from his background, it's just going to take time, like Josh Heupel's doing. This is just huge for recruiting and everything for Tennessee. I've never been more excited and nervous for a game, in my whole life watching Tennessee because they can really play with your emotions. I know it was doing that with me on that Pitt game, dude. I was getting so happy and angry all at the same time, but especially for the fan base, dude. We have such a passionate and crazy fan base. It's ridiculous sometimes. Take it to the Ole Miss game or, firing a coach every 2 years, which some of them should have been fired. But anyway, yeah, it's a huge game. That's all I'm going to say, man. It's such a mental game that Tennessee has got to get over and, figure this out. I mean, I was reading some quotes, from Trevon Flowers. He literally said the reason he's playing and came back this year was for this game. So obviously there's a lot of the rivalry hasn't been this built up like it should have been for, it's not been this built up since I swear probably 2016, 2017. Well, the start before 2017 season, and then they figured out they were all crap. But yeah, dude, I'm so excited. It's going to be I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think. But you never know, man. It's going to be who jumps the gun and who can take it, But I'll go ahead and let Gabe go ahead.
Real quick before Gabe goes, I just want to mention that, I think Josh Heupel understands this rivalry and is confident in this rivalry, and I think that's what we've lacked in the past few coaches we've had.
Yeah, dude, and
he understands
go
what it
ahead.
means for the fan base, and
Yeah,
he's not necessarily haunted by our past. I don't think he is at all. I think he's coming in confident, and from watching some of Billy Napier's pressers, this week leading up to this game,
he's going to find it real quick.
I don't. I'm interested. I'm interested to see what Gabe thinks because I don't know if he is taking this game very seriously.
Yeah.
But
I don't think a lot of Florida people are taking it very serious just because this is one of the very few times that I've been a Florida fan and not expected to beat Tennessee.
It's
so I do think it's a lot of.
Kentucky.
Yeah, I think it's a lot bigger game for Tennessee fans and the fan base than it is for Florida. Because obviously, Florida coming into the year, I was just expecting a rebuilding year and to lose this game offhand. So I think if Tennessee can't get over the hump this year, that's going to be a big setback.
Yeah. It's do or die time this year, I feel like, for Tennessee. Or not die necessarily, but, you're expecting to win, go out and win. You know what I mean?
The time is now.
And
we need
I mean, and going back to what you said really quick, Trevor, like with Josh Heupel understanding, he said as soon as the plane landed, 30 seconds in, he knew how important this game was. The Florida, the third, whatever, third weekend in September or whatever it is. I feel like.
Don't call it that.
Yeah, I don't even know, but
I've never heard it called that until like I saw somebody say something about that today.
Yeah, or whatever it is, but it's obviously he knows the importance. But yeah, Gabe, what do you think about Billy Napier, bro, so far?
What was that?
What do you think about Billy Napier so far as Florida's head coach?
I mean, it's kind of tough to tell right now where we're at. I mean, it's just his second SEC game, obviously. So I think once he plays a true road SEC game, he'll get a better understanding of where he's at, where his team's at. And then obviously the next year after that's big because that's his first year off of his recruiting class. So I'm not ready even if we do go 6-6, 7-5 to write him off yet. I give him another year or so, but I think he's a good coach and he'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I find it interesting the way he is like after Anthony Richardson, throws an interception, he's like babying him on the sidelines. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, anytime that basically even to him at Louisiana, which I've seen anytime, especially if it's his QB making mistakes, he'll always go over there, smile, and talk with them. And which not saying that Dan Mullen was a better coach than him, because I've not seen him how he's done with Florida yet. But Dan Mullen is a guy that turned Kyle Trask, which was a 2-star recruit, into a
Yeah.
Heisman finalist. So obviously
True.
Dan Mullen, I think if we had Dan Mullen to work with our quarterbacks, and Anthony Richardson would be a lot better than he is doing right now.
I used to play QB actually, and I think it's more motivating for your coach to be more encouraging for sure. I just find it interesting that
Yeah,
he
and I
coaches
think
that's his coaching style.
yeah.
If you all don't have any more thoughts, we could move on to our score prediction. Unless you want to hop in real quick, Andrew. Mission.
No, yeah. Let's go ahead and score prediction, man.
All right, guys. Yep. Score prediction. Where
Alright.
are we picking?
I think I'll go. I think so. I've thought about it for like about a minute. So like, if you guys think this prediction's bad, I didn't put too much thought into it. But I'm going with I think 31-38. Vols win. So I think Florida's gonna score the 28 with the touchdowns and then kick a field goal, and I think Tennessee's gonna score the 35, kick a field goal, get 38. So that's what I think. I think it'll be a really close game. 7-point game. I think that's pretty fair. It's pretty decently close, just a one touchdown game. But that's what I think. 31-38 is my score prediction.
I'm gonna go with 38-27. I think we're gonna cover. I think that's covering the spread right there.
Yeah.
But as far as our offense goes, I expect us to struggle a little bit, similar to the Pitt game. Hopefully not make as many mistakes as we did. Hopefully hit on some big plays. But I think Florida's offense is gonna do generally well in this game. It's gonna be tough to stop Anthony Richardson because of our past history
Mhm.
with athletic quarterbacks, but I'm just gonna go 38-27. We're gonna be scared for a little bit, but I think we can pull it out in the end.
Yeah. I'm sort of going a little bit less. I'm going a 34-24 Tennessee win. I think what it's going to come down to, Florida's going to be trying to make their way back in the fourth quarter. I think they're going to keep it close for sure. But I feel like we could see an Anthony Richardson pick this game. Don't know if he could throw two like he has in the last two games, but I think if it comes down to a big moment and we get pressure, I think he could throw a pick. And so that's why I'm going with that.
Yeah, I'm very close to you, Connor, as well. I'm going 35-24, Tennessee on top. I think Anthony Richardson is actually going to play really good in this game. Now, I will say I don't think he starts off hot, or it's going to go one of two ways. He's going to start off good and then maybe, a little bit of mess up, or he's going to start off really bad, but he's going to come back. I think he's going to play a pretty solid game, or better than what you saw definitely in the USF game. I think they're going to keep it close. I think it's going to be, I think Tennessee's going to win at least by hopefully a touchdown, I think. But it's going to for sure be close. I do think Tennessee jumps out first to the lead, but I think Florida's going to have some answers too. I think defensively, both sides, Florida and Tennessee are going to struggle a little bit with just the offenses. But I don't see this being a high-scoring game for sure. I think 35 is probably the max, maybe even less. That what we're gonna see for sure.
All right, Gabe, what do you think?
I'm gonna say 38-28 Tennessee. I do think Florida should score less than 28 and 4 touchdowns is what they'll get. But just with how fast Tennessee runs their offense, I think Florida's going to be offense will be on the field a lot. Not saying they'll get stops necessarily, but with how fast Tennessee does score, I say Florida will have varied opportunities for 4 touchdowns. And I'm kind of back to what Carver said. I think Florida will start out better in the start, just because in the first 3 games this year, Florida has 0 points in every single game in the third quarter. So they're coming out after halftime and they're just dead because they have no depth right now. So they're coming off hot. They've had against Kentucky, USF. They've been up by 2 scores in the first half in both of those games. And once the second half starts, they just come out dead. So I think it'll be Florida maybe up by a field goal in the first half, but second half's when they're going to start falling apart, I think.
Fair point.
All right, guys. Any other thoughts?
It's gonna be a big game, man. This is a big weekend to be a Vol fan, bro.
Yeah,
I
let's
took
go
off
get a W.
work for
Yeah,
this,
let's go
bro.
get a
It's gonna be fun, dude. I'm gonna be excited. I'm gonna be texting Gabe. Listen, I'm gonna tell this story real quick. So me and
You want to tell
Gabe,
about last time, right?
yeah, we're gonna talk about 2016. All right. I was supposed to go over to this man's house like after the game, right? We were watching it separate or whatever. Well, I get over there like after Tennessee made that amazing comeback, came back to win 38, whatever, like 20 something, right? And dude, I've never seen Florida. I've never seen a fan more mad in my life. I mean, you broke a mirror or something, right, Gabe?
Yeah,
Like,
something
and
like
his
that.
mom had to come over and kind of be like, all right, he's taking the loss pretty bad, But dude, it used to be very heated between him being a Florida fan and me a Tennessee fan. But that was probably one of the craziest things ever because he was texting me, giving me so much crap in the halftime. Like, man, Tennessee just sucks. But yeah, I'm hoping it's gonna. Yeah, it was amazing, and dude, I think Tennessee. I mean, obviously Tennessee's throwing everything at Florida. I mean, think about it: the checkered kneeling, sold out crowd. I think we're gonna bring the smoky gray uniforms. I mean, just how crazy that'd be, 2016. I think they're gonna throw everything at them, dude. And I think it's gonna be a fun game, dude, for sure. No matter what, it's gonna be a fun game to watch. And I really hope Tennessee fans just hold it together if something doesn't go the right way, because we do not need more publicity like the Ole Miss game and the end of that and what happened there. That just made us look horrible.
I think if you do lose to Florida, there'll be something like that.
There'll be something.
Again.
There'll be something crazy probably happen because that's just how we are. But yeah, I don't know. But
It
I just
depends,
hope
like,
if something does happen.
if if it's a close game and it's like there's a ref call that the fans
That's
disagree
hard.
with,
Yeah, it's hard to be a ref,
it's gonna
bro.
be bad.
And
It'll
it
be
just needs
worse.
to.
I think it'll be 1,000 times worse than the Ole Miss game.
Which, dude,
yeah.
yeah, I go back to the whole, Ole Miss call. I think him being short was the right call, dude. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think
I
fans were
think
more
fans
mad about that.
overreacted.
I
Yeah,
think fans were more mad about the call earlier in the game where they said that
yeah, that is true.
the run back, the touchdown, the fumble touchdown that we got
Yeah,
was just
and
not.
you look, bro. I mean, Lane Kiffin came in, and they thought the play wasn't dead, but they thought the play was dead. Matt Corral did, and got drilled pretty much. And that honestly, that should have been a touchdown. Would they rule it a safety or something? I can't even remember. Y'all
So it
remember what
was
I'm
like,
talking about, where he played like Statue of Liberty or whatever?
so
Everybody's playing except Matt Corral.
it wasn't a safety. It wasn't near the end zone. It was like at the 30 or the 40-yard line, but we sacked him and he just fumbled it, and our guy picked up the ball and ran it all the way to the end zone.
Yeah,
But
that's what it was. Tyler Barron, I think.
They said that they blew the whistle before he
You
fumbled
physically
it.
couldn't hear it. Yeah, I don't know.
And so like it was like they were like it's a dead ball. So like it was so stupid.
Yeah, it's all right.
One of the
We're over
worst
it though.
calls. Yeah, it's in the past.
Yeah,
We're on to bigger things now.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, dude, just looking forward to this weekend, man. It's gonna be a fun game. I know. I'll be texting you, Gabe, about it. I know.
Make sure to stay.
Gabe actually doesn't even know if he's gonna watch it. So
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll start watching when Florida's up.
I'll start watching in the second half if it's a one-score game. If not, I'm not even gonna bother.
I honestly understand. It gets kind of frustrating watching your team lose games.
Oh yeah, I had to turn off the Kentucky game after Richardson's pick six because that was just
That was pretty bad.
My problem
All
is
right,
I
guys.
never give up hope. I can never turn off
Yeah.
games because I'm like, oh, we still got a chance, even though we never do. Whenever it's like crazy leads, but yeah.
All right, guys. With that, I'd like to thank you all once again, for tuning into this special Florida Hate Week episode. Shout out Gabe for hopping on as well. I appreciate having you
boys.
on. Be sure to follow us on our socials on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram at VolBoyz Podcast. That's boys with a Z. And guys, don't forget, go Big Orange, baby. Let's get a dub this weekend.
Go Big Orange, baby.
Go Vols. Go Vols.
Let's go.